And what has happened in Iran is the exact opposite of what Trump thought would happen, and what a lot of people warned would happen, including us. Too bad Trump doesn't listen to the Regrettable Century.
Yeah, it's too
Is
bad.
that the bombing of Iran would solidify the people of Iran behind the government against foreign threats, against like, I mean, regardless of how much the Iranian people hate some of the Iranian people hate the government, I guarantee you they hate Israel and the United States more, especially Israel.
Yeah, everyone hates Israel more than anything else. And like
So
I know a lot of Americans think that we're the only ones who are patriotic, but honestly, like we're probably the least patriotic out of well, at least compared to Iran, we're not at all.
yeah,
Iranians,
exactly. They
they have
actually have
a
some sense of collective unity behind their patriotism rather than our patriotism, which is just like, well, in America, I can afford to buy treats, and y'all
well,
can't afford to do that in your
I
country.
used to be able to.
I used to be able to afford to buy treats. Yeah, that's rapidly dwindling. The ability to buy treats rapidly dwindling. So the justification keeps shifting, right? First, it was help the people of Iran who are being killed by their 40,000 people killed by the government, which we debunked that last week. And by we debunked it, I mean I read a report of it being debunked that I think it was Ken Klippenstein posted. And then nuclear weapons program supposedly that the one that they destroyed in June, supposedly it was undestroyed very quickly, and they were just minutes away from creating a quote industrial grade bomb. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. What is industrial grade bomb?
It's the kind
I
of
think he
bomb that
meant
it's like you can use it in a heavier capacity than like the average bomb that you might use like at home, just for home
at
use.
home, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you were trying to blow up your bathroom, you would just use a home bomb. But if
Yeah.
you needed to blow up like a factory, you would use an industrial grade bomb.
What's amazing about this is that Iran has been like horribly slow at finishing that enrichment process because they've been genuinely working on this for 40 years.
Weeks away for 40 years.
But then having obliterated the entire nuclear program, the Iranians can rebuild it, within 6 months.
Yeah, that's what happened. Is the bombs that they dropped on the nuclear facilities were help them finish faster bombs. That's must have been what they used the
Oh,
wrong
oh
bombs
no.
instead of the destroy bombs.
Yeah, and it's funny
Um.
because we should have just sent those to Ukraine.
Oh fuck. Well, so they never had a nuclear weapons program. In fact, the intelligence assessment that Tulsi Gabbard gave Congress before the 12-day war in June last year said that they didn't have one, and so has every single intelligence assessment for the past 20-something years. But Iran up to this point has been incredibly restrained in responding to the provocations given by Israel and the United States.
Yeah,
Up to
like
this point, I have to say up to this point, because after the
in a very bewildering way, even like
yeah, very much
al-
so.
almost like frustratingly so.
Yeah, and obviously there's a nuclear double standard here. Like Israel has a secret nuclear weapons program with over, I think, 200 and something nuclear weapons, and they also have this doctrine called the Samson option, where they would blow up the whole world if Israel ever started to go down.
Yeah, and the what's awful is like I don't think of anything as a off the table at this point. Like when the people who are like representing the U.S. government say, "Oh, hey, yeah, we should help Israel take over the whole Middle East and also like blow up the Al-Aqsa Mosque so that we can rebuild the
Right.
temple and thus force Jesus to come back because he's not going fast enough. We have to make it happen."
Yeah, what the fuck do they think this is? Like an Indiana Jones movie or something, where you could just like control the power of God by tricking them?
Was yeah, I think so. I
I
wonder
gotta
how
say that American Protestants are fucking heretics, dude.
they are. I
Yeah.
wonder what these like Huckabee is like a nominally he's like a theologian of some sort. How do you reconcile this with like Matthew 5:9? Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Or Romans 12:18. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, to strive to be at peace with all men.
Yeah, I got to say that it doesn't jive with that at all.
Or James 3:18. Those who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness, and so on and so on.
You know what? I decided to do a little experiment here. Like I typed into Google who is targeted in the Samson option, who specifically is targeted in the Samson option, and it didn't give me any search results. It was like the Wikipedia entry was the only thing that showed up. So I was just like, if you ever type in a question into Google, it gives you the AI reply at the top, right?
Yeah, always.
Not this time. And so I was like, I wonder if I typed it into Chat GPT, what it would say. It just didn't fucking work. I pressed the who is targeted in Israel's Samson options. Nothing. It was like I pressed enter and my question disappeared and nothing happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, very fucking interesting.
I'm gonna look this up too.
Yeah.
Samson option.
Yeah, there is no specific targeting. It's just that it would be a massive nuclear retaliation against anybody who was possibly, this is according to the Wikipedia article, against anybody who was deserved to be the target of Israel's ire, essentially.
I believe that. So they have about 200 nuclear missiles. Yeah. So who would fit into the top, let's say 100 enemies of Israel? Because those are probably who gets targeted.
Iran, yeah. Turkey, Qatar,
Lebanon,
right?
Egypt, because if they want to take over the Sinai and all the land east of the Nile, they have to take those people out too.
Egypt. I don't know if they have the capability of reaching Ireland and Spain, but those would be on the list for sure.
Well, for that matter, Beijing. Well, that's tricky because they have
trade relations with Beijing.
Yeah, China has a very 1 foot in, 1 foot on either side of the line when it comes to Israel.
But the Samson option isn't like a plan to save Israel. It's a plan to destroy all of Israel's enemies as Israel is being destroyed. Because Samson killed all the Philistines when he killed himself by pushing the column out from that he was standing up against in the Philistine temple. So that would be anybody who ever criticized Israel would probably be on the list.
Well, that's fucking
Germany would be fine.
Well, that's true. Germany would be fine. England would be fine.
Yep.
But like Scotland wouldn't be fine even.
Okay, so moving on. So it's come out previously that every time the Iranians would start to move towards the American position, that they would up the ante and throw something else on there that they knew that the Iranians wouldn't go for. Like the last thing they did was say, oh yeah, you have to give up all your ballistic missiles and your Navy. To which the Iranians, at some point, agreed to take the proposal back to Iran and discuss it. And that's apparently this is what reports have been saying, that the Ayatollah was meeting with the top members of his cabinet to discuss the newest proposal from the United States when he was taken out by Israel in the middle of diplomacy.
This is the second time in less than a year that the chief negotiators were killed
by the United States and Israel. Yeah,
I want to just guess that they're not going to let that happen again.
Let's see. So, despite the fact that they were in the middle of talks and the Ayatollah was meeting with his cabinet in order to discuss things, discuss the American proposal in these negotiations, they killed numerous Iranian officials and specifically targeted the Ayatollah. Now, the Ayatollah, famously in Iran, but not outside of Iran, lives an ascetic life. He doesn't live in a massive palace. You could see like the videos of videos of the Ayatollah's home that have been shown all over the place since the the assassination show that he lived in a very modest house, and he had a sort of part of his ethos as a leader was to live as the people lived, meaning if there's not enough bunkers for everybody, then he's not going to go in a bunker. And that's how his predecessor lived during the Iran-Iraq War, and that's how he decided that he was going to live, which is one of the reasons why he wasn't just hiding.
Oh,
Now,
so it's like a real beta kind of attitude, you know?
if
He was refusing to ball.
unlike Benjamin Netanyahu, who fled to Berlin,
Yeah, like a real hero.
like a real hero,
a wartime
yeah.
leader, you know, just gotta go to another continent real quick.
Go to another continent in order to, after starting a war. But anyway, so like I have some problems with the way the Ayatollah did things. Like I certainly wouldn't have had my family in the house if I was expecting an imminent strike.
Yeah.
Like his 19-month-old granddaughter was killed in the process, which is fucking heartbreaking. I saw a picture of her, and it was one of the sadder things that I've seen. But that's what Israel and the United States do. First off, they hit a school with 150 something young girls that were all killed, all in their early school age, which the press immediately jumped on as being an IRGC false flag attack. Is one of the first things I saw to paint Israel in a negative light. Which, like, are you fucking kidding me? We just watched them for the past 3 years purposely destroy every school and every hospital in Gaza, and we're supposed to believe that the IRGC needed to blow up this school in order to make Israel look bad? No, Israel looks terrible, and no one believes that it wasn't them, except for some Iranian diaspora people who didn't want it to be true, or really needed it to not be true and lied about it. But
yeah, because I kind of have to. I want to give people more credit. I don't think that anybody is that fucking stupid, not that foolish.
Then they shifted the narrative to be that it was a misfired air defense missile, but air defense missiles don't have the capacity to do the kind of damage that was done to that school. That was an offensive weapon that was likely it was likely an accident. I think it was probably an accident, and it was likely an AI targeting mistake, because there was a building nearby that would have been a legitimate military target. Not nearby, but in the same basic region. And
Yeah.
as you'll see later, there are lots of AI targeting mistakes that have been happening.
Some of them are really actually kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
In this case, it's very much not hilarious.
Right. Let's see. Of course, all of the absolute slavering cowards in the UK, France, and Germany that kind of were like, oh, I don't know if you should do this at first before jumping on board. Canada saying they might join in too.
Well, yeah, I mean they've got to come to the defense of the rules-based order, which they just recently went on record saying is a myth,
fake.
Yeah.
So far, 5 days in, at least somewhere over 1,000 Iranian civilians have been killed, and 6 Americans have died that have been admitted to, with something like a dozen or so severely injured, and a few dozen that had minor injuries. I say injury, I mean wounds. These are wounds from a military battle.
Yeah, well, and according to the IRGC, it's anywhere from 600 to 1,000.
So
it's between 6 and 1,000.
Yeah, and it seems like those figures are being echoed by Russian, Chinese intelligence. But so you take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, those are the enemies of the United States in this instance. But also, Israeli intelligence said there was a mass casualty event at this base in Kuwait.
And well, right. So, like the enemies of the United States, like you said.
Israel, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there is no strategy here, really. Part of the problem here is the United States often gets into wars without any kind of war termination strategy. Like they have a basic set of goals, and they're always regime change goals, right? Like in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and now Iran and Libya as well. There's regime change goals with no real sort of exit strategy whatsoever. Like, we're going to go in and we're going to change the regime, and things will be better. And I guess if the ultimate strategy is just pure chaos, then yeah,
Right.
I guess they have had some success in those areas. But what it looks like is that the United States gets involved, has a really good job, does a really good job of causing chaos and leaving a huge mess in their wake. And that, I guess, if that is the goal, then mission accomplished in every single one of these instances. Like in Libya in 2011, where they took a state with a stable state with a welfare system and maintained roads and a
With like
populace that
no measurable like homelessness.
yeah, and they turned it into a failed state with multiple factions and constant civil war and open slave markets.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
and
also, they also helped make a massive refugee crisis in Europe,
exactly.
which is, destabilizing like, most of the world.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it's just like in this situation too, the strategy is so much more deficient than even the strategy in the Iraq War and in the Libyan Civil War and in Syria, because the data shows us that while the United States has been able to like plaster Tehran, I got to stop pronouncing the khs in that like it's an Arabic word, because it's not, and I don't actually know how to pronounce it in Persian. So in Tehran, um, they've been able to plaster Tehran, but if you look at a map of where the strikes are, they are like there was a press briefing put on to show where all the strikes were, and they're all in Western Iran, which indicates that Iranian air defenses must be working because they can only hit targets in the western portion, that they're basically what's called lob bombing, where you approach Iranian airspace, fire off the missile, and turn off before you start to be engaged by their um, mostly still intact air defense system, which doesn't do a very good job of shooting down air-launched cruise missiles, but would probably do a pretty decent job of shooting down airplanes, right? So even
Right.
like B2s, and I think they said even B-52s are being used. And what they're doing is the B2s aren't flying overhead and dropping bombs straight down. B2s and B-52s are probably launching cruise missiles. The way that the Russians use their outdated strategic bombers to drop cruise missiles.
Well,
Um,
I mean, and this is from before we had run out of what we call smart weapons.
right. So there's two things that we're probably low on the smart weapons that we can deploy, and the gravity bombs that they're talking about using will necessarily require there to be complete air superiority over Iran in order to be able to use those. So if Hegseth saying that we're going to start using gravity bombs soon means that he is confident that we're going to gain air superiority over Iran, or he's just lying.